Hola, buenas noches. Good evening. My name is Abelardo de la Peña. I'm the
Hola, buenas noches.
Hi,
Good evening.
yeah, I did it again.
My name is Abelardo de la Peña. I'm the buenas noches.
Hi,
Good evening.
yeah. There you go. Anyway, Abelardo de la Peña Jr., you've heard me say it 3 times, Director of Marketing and Communications with La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, welcoming you to En Casa con La Plaza. Let's see, tonight, great show with Dan Guerrero, happy hour. So let's bring on Dan. Before, if you're on Zoom, please use the chat feature. Ask questions, make comments. If you're on Facebook, thank you for joining us.
Well, that was quick. I thought usually Tibbetts, I'm barely in the middle of my martini.
Well, I'm going to get started on mine right now.
I suspect you've already had one. Okay. I think, how was your week? Don't tell me too long. Make it short.
The week's it's been really hectic. As
you
usual,
were up at 4 o'clock this morning or something.
4 o'clock this morning. We have a brand new exhibit at La Plaza Cocina. It's called The Legacy of Cacao. It talks about the chocolate, the food of the gods. It's a great exhibit there at La Plaza Cocina, which is right across the street from, it's on Spring Street, across from La Plaza de Cultura y Artes. Beautiful photographs, a timeline of the history of chocolate, some fantastic objects. And this morning, Telemundo 52 came down and interviewed the co-curator Maite Gomez Rejon for their morning show. So there were live remotes. We had people at the studio. We had a camera person and a reporter there at La Plaza Cocina. And we had segments at 5:30 morning, at 6:30 in the morning, and 7:30 in the morning, and it came out really well. We'll be posting it on our Facebook page probably tomorrow. So yeah,
like
a long one.
You're getting famous because the Good Morning Good Morning the CBS.
Yeah, we had the Today Show for our last exhibit there at La Cocina, which was Abuelita's Kitchen. The Today Show was there. We've had Univision. We've had just a couple of days ago there at our Hostile Terrain 94 exhibit at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes. We had Reuters, the big time international news service. They're going to do a segment on the Hostile Terrain 94 exhibit. And I urge everybody to come check it out.
It's a great museum. It's a great museum. And now you're getting famous. Okay, go away.
Okay, no. Just real quick before we go.
What?
Just talk about what's happening this weekend. We have the International Latino, it's
Mariachi
called
Festival.
There you go. It's an International Mariachi Women's Festival with the Mariachi Divas, Mariachi Femenil, Nuevo Tecatitlán, Mariachi Innovación Mexicana. It is a partnership that we're doing, and it's on Sunday from 4 to 8. It's VIP tickets, $45, but it's general admission free, but you need to go to Eventbrite and register. And now I'll go away, Dan.
All right. I hope to see you Sunday.
We'll see you. We'll see you in about 45 minutes before then. Bye-bye.
That's true. Well, we always have very special guests, but it's always a guest. But tonight we've got 2 guests, 2 for the price of 1. Tonight's guests come from very different backgrounds, but at the same time, they shared very similar experiences in the entertainment industry. As actors, they both face the same issues, many of the issues that are specific to Latino actors. And that led them to believe that they needed to take control and they needed to effect change. And so they did, and they founded Avenida Productions, which led to Avenida Studios, which is leading to a whole big new world that they'll tell you about. Oh, and the good news is they got married along the way. It's like a Hallmark movie. Zoom in, Fanny and Nelson Grande. Zoom in.
Hey.
Hey, good for you. Look at those beautiful people.
We cracked a bottle just for you.
Good, I'm glad. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Oh, thanks for giving us a reason to drink.
First of all, you're the most beautiful couple. You look like a commercial.
Thank you.
Which is not, that's a good thing,
Oh, absolutely it is.
You have such, I can't even imagine running the studio and the this and the that in your careers. I honestly don't know how you do it. So I appreciate your squeezing in the happy hour into your busy day, as it were. Now, tell me, you did come from very different backgrounds. Fanny, you were born here in the US, but you grew up in Caracas in Venezuela, and you were acting very young. You were a child. You still look like a child, by the way.
I am.
No, she's not a child. Let's get that clear. No.
No, she's a
I'm gonna go
grown up.
viral in 10 years from now, and I'm gonna get canceled.
So you were acting very young in Venezuela, and Nelson, you're a Highland Park boy right here in LA, and you started acting as a young man. And did you two meet as actors? Were you actors when you met?
We met. Fanny was already making her own films. She was already making stuff, and I auditioned and I got the part. I really hope it had to do with my skill.
Audition for me.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that was it.
That's what it was. All skill. That's what it is.
No, Fanny was going.
So you know what role it was?
So you actually hired him for one of your films?
Yes, and he played the cute waiter that was flirting with one of the actors.
It was hard, but I had to.
He went real method.
Yeah, but I suspect you had plenty of experience with that scene, Nelson.
Well, just in rehearsals and in acting class, but I had to do my acting chops and really try to flirt in real life. It was fun.
That's great. But now, Fanny, you started as an actor. You were an actor, but you already were starting to direct and to produce films. Where did you learn filmmaking? Where did that come in?
I went to school in Colorado. I mean, I grew up acting and performing in Venezuela. I did a lot of theater. And then when we moved to the US, I wanted to pursue acting. I went to university. My school didn't have a film school when I first started. So I did a theater. I went to University of Colorado in Denver. And I took an acting and directing as my degree, acting and directing. But I will say the last year before I graduated, one of my professors who was really smart, she was like, there's a new film program. It was very small, but she was like, we're going to collaborate with them. So I got to be on my first short film set, and I learned to ADR, and I learned to do all these things with a camera, and sort of took like everything that I had learned in theater, because it really translates. A great
Sure.
Foundation.
Sure.
So then from there, I knew after I graduated college, I wanted to move to LA. So I decided to shoot my first short film that I wrote and directed. And I knew somebody I had a friend who worked at Univision, and she had a camera. Her and her husband worked together. And then I just cast my friends from school and from the theater. I used to be part of El Centro Su Teatro, which is the oldest Latino theater company in the country. People don't know this. It's in Denver, of all places.
I've actually been there.
Yes.
Yes, it's tiny.
Now it's big.
Oh, well, then the one I went to is tiny. How do I get to the big one? Do you know people?
Now. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's not humongous, but it's big. It used to be tiny teeny. That's where
Well, this was probably a decade ago. So because it was small when I was there.
Yeah. So then I cast a bunch of those actors, and I shot my very first short film. So when I moved to LA, I had a short film in my hand. And the reason I started making short films is because, the roles available for me were like none or stereotypes. So I was like, let me move to LA with a strong piece that showcases me and the talent of my friends. And, that's how I got started making movies.
And I would think, because my darling Maria Conchita Alonso, who of course, she was born in Cuba, but she's considered a Venezolana.
Yes.
And you live there, and she was here for many years, and I was producing a show for her. And she, one day, I don't know what happened, and she was like, I still can't believe how Latinos are treated in this country.
It's
because
crazy.
Of course, in Venezuela, you're all Latinos. You're in Mexico, you're all Latinos. So when you grow up that way, and then you come here and you suddenly find out you're the minority, but you don't even look Latina, and you still face that.
I don't know what that means. What does it look to be Latina? I know that
It's what the industry says is
I know that
Latina.
as soon as I moved to the US, every day I would get things like, oh, where are you from? Wait, where? Like, it was so like I was from another planet. And then everybody's like, you look like Rosie Perez. I didn't know who she was, but you know, okay, sure. So
Well,
this
I
is
find
a
that
different
interesting.
company, like really transforming the way we're perceived as a community, because what does a Latino look like when we're actually an ethnic group, right? Like,
Of
there's
course, but I'm saying these are stories we've heard 1,000 times, and,
Yeah.
and it's true. Everyone does it, but I'm saying I'm surprised because you don't look Latina from what the industry thinks. Nelson, I would think you would have faced that more. Did you?
You know what? I got a lot of people. Listen, I played different roles before, and I get a lot of different things. I got ethnically ambiguous, which was, you know, come in to the audition and do the accent that we want. And,
oh, yeah.
you know, it's
you
also
could play a Middle Eastern person, anything.
Yeah, all of that. But, you know, it's funny because now I know better. And, you know, this was years ago. I think, well, now I wouldn't take a role. If it was called for a Middle Eastern person, I wouldn't take it because there are folks who would be more qualified for it. But just by appearances, whenever I travel places, like if I go to like Chicago, people think I'm Greek. If I'm here into LA and I'm rolling through Glendale, North Hollywood, people think I'm Armenian. You know, if I'm in Latin America, people also, the different parts, people, you know, claim, I don't want to say claim me, but think I'm, you know, part of whatever culture, whatever ethnic group is local.
I can see that, but the times today now is they will get a real Armenian. They'll get a real. I have a friend who's Italian, and she once played Anita in West Side. She goes, I could still play it. I said, no, nobody would hire you today. They're looking for a real Latina.
You know what's interesting though, because you know you brought up Anita, and Rita Moreno always says like, I always play the ethnic. I had like one accent for all the ethnicities. Like, oh my, that was Nelson.
You know, it's interesting because also I would go, it was a horrible accent. It was like this just mishmash of just like weird accent I would do. And they'd be like, perfect, you're a Latino now. And I would go into auditions for a cop or a firefighter, whatever it was for these big shows. And the guys from LA, they'd be like, cool, but do it with an accent. I'm like, the guys from LA, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, I'm from LA. I don't, this is how I speak. Like, why do
you don't have a Highland Park accent? You need to take an acting class.
I know, right? I know. Born and raised in Highland Park. I don't sound like whatever Highland Park sounds like, but.
Yeah, but you know, I can beat both of you. Before either of you was born, and I grew up in East LA, moved to New York. Yeah. And when I would audition there, they had never even seen a Mexican American in those days. They didn't even, so the agent would hear that I was too Mediterranean. Oh. They didn't know what I was, but I sure wasn't one of them white people. I was something different. There was one Mexican restaurant in all of LA. So this is before the Puerto Ricanos even descended upon New York. So it's been a long road, and we're still here. But you decided to do something about it, and I want to talk about Homebound, because that came pretty early in your film career here in LA, right? And Nelson, I think you were a producer on it, and Fanny, you had an acting role in it.
Yeah, I'll tell you how it went. You know, I was making these short films because like I shared with you, it was like, I'm not gonna wait to be cast. I don't like how I'm being cast. So I did a bunch of short films and won awards, but my career just wasn't moving forward. So a lot of people are like, well, you gotta really do a feature film, right? That's why you're not making it. I'm like, oh my God. In the meantime, my white male counterparts have agents at CAA, and I'm over here winning South by Southwest and nada, right? So I was like, all right, but how do I make a feature? I'm a single mom, like I had two boys at my two little boys. I'm like, how do I do this? So somebody had mentioned or had seen somewhere on the web something called Kickstarter. I know what that was.
This was very early on in the crowdfunding.
I think I was the first person in the community to do a crowdfunding. So I did a crowdfunding campaign, and I just asked people, hey, help me make a movie that's going to help transform the way we're portrayed in the media. And a lot of people, you know, right now everybody's talking about diversity, but back then it was like, whoa, right? You know?
So revolutionary.
So you mean we can speak English, you know, like and not play like criminals? Oh my God. So a lot of people gave me a little bit of money. And then it was really beautiful because like the community sort of like felt like this was their film. Obviously, I didn't do this by myself. We had a team of people helping out to make the movie. And then when we went to film the movie, it was great because people had seen the crowdfunding campaign. So they were starting to show up on set with like food and like, I didn't have to pay for extras or for any location.
You shot this in Texas.
In Texas, in a small town called El Campo. And then the movie came out really great. And, you know, Enrique Castillo is the lead.
Kiki and Julia Vera, who
Julia
I
Vera.
love. You had wonderful actors.
I got to work with those two and I was like, oh my God. You know, I grew up watching them and admire them and they agreed to be in my movie and in my tiny movie. And I was like, oh my God. It was incredible. Anyway, so then the movie came out great, but nobody would buy it. Why? Because it was in English, and you have stereotypes, and it wasn't set in East LA, right? Because there's a perception that somehow we all live in East LA, of 20% of the country. So I was like, oh man, I went back to the community and I said, hey, this movie you helped me make, I can't sell it. Nobody will buy it. So what happened was people started requesting the movie at their local movie theater. And I started like touring with the movie, and that's how I sold it. And then other filmmakers started asking, how did you do that? Can you help me? Can you like guide me? Can you coach me? And at the time I was on the board of Nosotros. I was the vice chair. So I had a lot of people asking me to help them. So I was sort of helping them as a hobby. And Nelson and I started dating when that happened. That was over 7 years ago. Actually, 7 years ago.
7 years ago. Did we
know.
just realize something right now?
Yes.
Live?
Like this week, 7 years ago.
7 years
You
ago.
just realized today's your anniversary, right?
Oh, shoot. Surprise!
Yeah.
Anyway, so then he was like, babe, what are you doing? This is a business. You're giving it away. But part of me was like, no, I don't want to do that because I didn't want to like charge people.
This is where I had to jump in and interrupt this. I come from a business background. I've worked at a lot of different startups, and I saw what Fanny was doing. And I saw that she's highly skilled in this, and there was a lot of money being moved. I mean, this industry just has a lot of money in the raising the money of it, in the raising of the funds, in the production of it, in the distribution of it. And she was the only person in this chain doing it out of the goodness of her heart. And she was damn good at it. I'm like, the person who needs to get paid the most here is the one collecting the least. So I presented this opportunity, which she was already doing. And I said, hey, listen, let's do this. I saw her work her magic, not just with stuff because the reason we reconnected was because a buddy and I were working on a script, and I had reached out to Fanny to have her work with us. And I got a hell of a lot more than what we pay for. So still paying off. The service is still being delivered. So
Even after 7 years. Oh,
yeah. It's like a 99 plus year contract. So
see, this was a question coming up later, but let's deal with it now because it's true. There's usually in partnerships, there's a business person and then there's a creative person. Not to say that a business person can also be creative, but you know, it's having different areas of expertise is what makes a successful relationship.
Oh, absolutely. So listen, we're both creative in our own.
I'm sure.
Fanny is creative with the combination of this. Fanny's been working this side of the industry much longer, and which is why she's the CEO. She has the vision of that, and she's been working on it. I share the vision, obviously, and I support it. But my expertise come from the background of operations and building things and putting things together. And my vision works in how is this machine going to run with this idea? So we both shine in our own respective roles, but we also flip-flop when needed. Like, she gets stumped sometimes. She's like, babe, help me out. And I get stumped. Like today was one of those days where I was getting stumped on something and she came over to help me out. So we're extremely versatile, but yeah, our roles are super defined in what we do. And it really works out. It really just works out for us.
Apparently. Now, let me ask you, Nelson, because you're kind of the expert, not that you aren't I don't want to get anybody mad here. In
We're
terms
gonna
of,
fight about this later.
that's okay. Just don't fight with me. Yeah,
No,
just
you're
don't fight
good.
but not everybody in the world knows about, well, they may have heard of crowdfunding or they know about it, but can you succinctly just explain how it works? I know Kickstarter, I did a crowdfunding campaign that I did not want to do, and I did Indiegogo, because with that one, you get all the money, even if you don't reach your goal. I surpassed mine, but Kickstarter, it can just tell people how crowdfunding works.
Sure thing. So crowdfunding is where there's a set location where it's a platform, it's a website page where everybody comes, and it's kind of like a funnel. You have your page, you have your video descriptor of what you're doing, your project information, what you're looking to raise the funds for, what the money is for. And it's a place for you to share with folks on what you're up to and what you're creating, and where people can support you financially. And this is because there's a lot of different types of crowdfunding. You have to understand that this is something called rewards-based crowdfunding, because there's equity crowdfunding that businesses do to raise money for the company, for their companies, and people get some sort of stock. There's crowdfunding that people do for like medical bills, and people have seen GoFundMe and things
But
like
we're
that.
looking at specifically entertainment projects.
Yes, now specifically for entertainment projects, and because Fanny and I over the years have helped raise millions and millions of dollars now for hundreds of projects. There were a lot of things that we didn't think were exactly to our liking, because we would work with these platforms as best we could. So earlier this year, we launched our own crowdfunding platform called Support Our Story. So folks that go to supportourstory.com are able to, go to our crowdfunding platform. And what's unique is we actually created the first crowdfunding platform that provides free automated coaching. So from the moment
I think we have an image, I think, of a workshop. I think you're in it, Fanny. Is this a crowdfunding workshop?
That's
Yeah.
me and Nelson.
That's also me. That's also
yeah.
Dan.
I
That
thought
was
you were
for
one of the students. You look so young. I thought you were a student looking for
Oh yeah,
Pat.
keep it coming. Why else did you think I was young?
That's
No, just kidding.
That's for a great festival, shorts.
Yeah, that was it was at the Holly.
Holly
That was a
Shorts.
Holly Shorts Festival at Hollywood and Highland.
Yeah, we.
Yeah. So what's cool is that what we did is we took Fanny's brain and we turned it into a little AI bot, and we put it in the background. So
Because the reason most crowdfunding campaigns fail, and this is the fact, so most crowdfunding campaigns fail is because people don't know how to crowdfund. Like my very first crowdfunding campaign, I failed and I cried, but I learned a lot, so I did it again. And what we said is like, we don't want people to go through that. So we actually put the coaching in the platform.
yeah, people used to pay us a significant amount up front, and we would take a significant amount on the back because we were very hands-on. It was our primary business model for crowdfunding. But then we realized that for a couple of reasons, as a company to scale, we only have so much manpower or woman power. But the thing that really made us make the shift was that we would get a lot of folks in our community being like, hey, this is awesome, but I can't afford it. And we're like, you know what? We set to create this for our community and to help level out the playing field. So now people don't pay anything out of pocket. It's just like any of the other platforms where you pay a back-end percentage fee of what's raised. And there's even more stuff about that. The contributor can actually cover that fee for you, so the user keeps more money. But yeah, no, just to kind of button up this thing about the crowdfunding is that we're our first quarter numbers and metrics just came in, and we're outperforming the competition. Our crowdfunding campaigns compared to Kickstarter's creative campaigns are raising 4 to 5 times the amount that theirs are on a national average, and our contribution size is also 4 times the national average, and our success rate is more than double that of the competitor. So we did create something pretty amazing, and we're fortunate enough to be backed by a Latino-led venture capital firm, which saw what we created, and they supported us.
So
Yeah, Latitude Ventures. And
It's an amazing, and crowdfunding a campaign is a lot of work.
it's
a
a lot,
lot.
yeah,
A lot of work.
Mhm.
it's a lot.
I didn't want to do it, and everyone said you have to. I was going to film my stage show, and I only was able to do it. I did have a company. This was pre-you. And but I had two best friends. One was a social media guru, and the other was a tech marketing person. And I'm telling you, the three of us worked 10 hours a day. It was a very short campaign. It was only 5 weeks. It was only 5 weeks, but it was a full-time job. And we're savvy. I mean, if someone's an actor and you know that they don't know the whole thing, you need help. It's very work intensive.
It is. So with us, we've gotten down to a place where if you put at least an hour a day,
Oh, wow.
have to commit for 30 days, you can raise money.
Yeah.
Obviously,
That's
it might
nothing.
take 2-3 hours. It depends, but we didn't want people to like. There's very specific things that work for crowdfunding that we have cracked. So that's all in there. All the magic's in there for everybody.
It's important. It's important, and it's a good thing if you can get it. Now, I also want to talk about a documentary that you directed and Nelson, you produced both on My DACA Life.
Yeah.
Now, that had a premiere recently, right, in DC?
It was their official premiere was at the Immigration Film Festival a couple weeks ago in Washington, D.C. We also screened it at Latitude, and this Sunday, we have the LA premiere at the studio as part of PanaFest.
Oh, right. PanaFest is tomorrow, starts tomorrow night or Saturday night?
Tomorrow, and then our closing, where we have the closing night film that we co-produced with Maribel Serrano, and I directed it, and we crowdfunded it. We pretty much crowdfund all our projects now.
Yeah, most of our in-house projects, we crowdfund them, produce them, and then, we'll distribute them.
So Avenida Studios, we have a photo there. Is not, God, you're doing everything there. Look at that. That's fantastic. So you've got full facility there, full services. You're hosting all kinds of things. The film festival this weekend. I know the International Documentary Association had their conference there last September. So this is becoming the hub for, well, there's a quote from you, Nelson, that it sounds scary. Where is it?
Oh, I said something scary.
Yeah, no, but in a good way. In a good way. It's like you're
I say a lot of things.
It's here somewhere. But you talk about that you wanted to build the first Latino-run studio. I mean that, and you're certainly well on your way. And I know you. Yeah, I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. And make sure you help the old filmmakers too, not just the young ones.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's actually, I'm glad you said that because, this is something we talk about. A lot of the programs talk about like emerging filmmakers. Yeah. But the thing is, there are a lot of filmmakers who are already professionals. We're all professionals here. We're all professionals here. And it always seems that these programs, and again, listen, I have a thing against these initiatives and programs. A lot of them are lip service. I'm gonna say most of them are lip service.
Question.
Some are good,
No
but
question.
the thing is, everyone's like, oh, emerging filmmakers. It's like, cool. We have resumes, we have experience. We're hireable ready. We're work ready. But let's just focus on giving, young filmmakers experience where we can actively establish filmmakers of all ages actual jobs. So that's where we stand with the young film. We will support everyone, young filmmakers, of course, but everyone deserves a shot, and especially those who already have experience.
We've already worked with a lot of older. What is
mature?
older?
The word is mature, not older. It's mature.
This wine is delicious because it's aged. If we had kept it,
there you go. There you go.
Speaking of this wine, I think I need a little more.
Now, tell me about, you had something there, a photo that interested me of Latina filmmakers. What was that about? Tell me, Fanny.
Oh, that's with the Chicana Directors Initiative that was founded by Kaden Phoenix. She's in the middle. We host them pretty much every month, and she brings speakers to talk to Latina filmmakers about everything. Like we just had an executive from HBO International. We just had a very well-known filmmaker, Gonzalo. He does my God, he's so.
You're
he's
drinking
so
the
well-
wine and sorry, it's a happy hour, baby. It's a happy hour. Pass that bottle. I need a little more.
So listen, Avenida is a space for the community. This is how we built it. So we do things with Latino Filmmakers Initiative, Women of Color Unite, Chicana's Director of Initiative. We even did a film festival called the Latina International Film Extravaganza with Josefina Lopez, right? Which, by the way, was the first festival I ever won an award at 20 years ago. And now we
Oh.
hosted at the studio. So it's really beautiful.
Mhm.
Like anything that we can do to really elevate the voices of our creatives and just provide a space for them,
It fills our heart. It really does, Dan. We get people coming through here and they share how their experience is different with us. Because, you try going through the traditional route and you're met with a lot of doors and a lot of stops and like, oh, well, you gotta earn your stripes. And then eventually, maybe, hopefully someday you'll be worthy enough of a job or a chance. And with us, it's like, if you're creative and you have an audience and we can help you create that audience, let's do it. There's no reason. We don't need to put these, fake roadblocks in the way and fake just issues.
So the way that we work is to make a movie or a show or anything like that, you have three components, right? You have the funding.
The hardest part,
Production.
in a way.
You would think distribution is harder, but you have the funding, the production, and the distribution. Usually people get stuck in the funding phase. Oh, I don't have money, I can't do it, right? But we found the solution, which is our crowdfunding. Then the production, a lot of our clients were fundraising and they're like, we can't afford any of these studios. We don't know where to shoot. This is why we have the studio. And now for distribution, we're launching our streamer. So we have the solution, but it's all non-traditional. It's all outside of the system, but we're just getting it done.
But you're right. You the best thing is to make a living and doing something that also is meaningful to you. That's the prize. That's the prize.
Yeah, the thing is, there's a lot of money being moved around, and this industry is already so used to there's money being moved around, but they get really creative with but all these fees and these people have to keep that, and that's just BS. If there's money being moved around and you're the creator of it and people are consuming it or it's sold, all this, some of that money belongs to you.
I can't tell you how many of our clients or filmmakers I know come and say, oh yeah, I made this awesome movie, I sold it, I haven't seen a dime, and it's been 5 years.
And people are watching it.
But if you're watching it, somebody's making money.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. We won't name the companies, but some of them are famous for that. It's been on television for 20 years and they haven't made their money back yet. Yeah. Here's the quote. Here's the scary quote, Nelson. Our goal is to be the first major the first major Hollywood studio owned by Latinos.
yes.
Salute to that.
Salute to that.
And you're on your way now. Tell me about all these things. I'm starting to get a headache because you had Avenida Productions. Now you have Avenida Studios. Then upcoming is Avenida TV. I mean, tell me about that. What does that mean?
Sure thing. So hold on. First, some more wine.
Wow. I can't
No,
keep up with you. You're the first guest I've not been able to keep up with.
We're supposed to.
You got time, don't worry. And we got
We're
another.
supposed to.
Although La Marisol had mezcal, or was
Oh,
that?
they
Yeah,
went to school together.
Oh, Marisol from este grupo. Are you talking about?
Santa Cecilia.
Santa Cecilia. Yes. We went. Yeah, we went to high school together. It was great. We have great memories. I remember, sitting there. We would hang out after school, kind of with the theater kids and stuff. And she would just belt out and start singing. And the rest of us were just cool and chill and awesome. And, and
So you got free concerts.
I got free concerts from La Marisol. Yeah.
She's the best. I adore her.
She's awesome.
I just worked with her last Saturday. I did a big Dolores Huerta thing, and she did God Bless the Child.
Amen.
Yeah.
Because
So-
Dolores is a big fan, Billie Holiday fan. So yeah, she's the best. La Marisol, I love that woman.
She was amazing.
So you know how you mention all these things, like you have Avenida Productions, Avenida Studios, Avenida TV. It's all under one umbrella, which is the Avenida Entertainment Group. But it simply is just funding, production, and distribution. Funding is support our story. Production is the studio, which is the venue that people can rent to film their stuff.
Avenida Productions.
And also we co-produce with a lot of our clients. And this is the missing piece that we're really excited about that Nelson's gonna tell you more.
Avenida TV.
Yeah.
Avenida
Which is the
TV.
distribution arm.
The distribution arm. Oh, we can. probably-
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Hold
many
on.
people do beautiful work and then it sits in their shelf somewhere.
You
Yeah.
can share it.
Hold on. So I am going to give you a nice little sneak peek. Hold on. I'm gonna put away all the financial bookkeeping and stuff I'm
I don't know
doing
if you
here.
can share. That's
And
what-
I'm gonna give me sharing capabilities if you can.
That's Abelardo. Can you do that, Abelardo?
You could do it on your own. Just
Okay.
go ahead and click on share screen, and I think you do have the opportunity to do that.
Sure thing. All right, let me cue it up. So I'll tell you about it right now before we pull it up while I'm preparing it. Avenida TV is a digital streamer, and well, actually, hold on. Let me refresh that. Let me go to the here. Let's do desktop.
Is that the one you describe as a Latino BET?
This is the one I call the Latino BET. Because it's English language, it's for the American Latino network, American Latino audience. Here we
There's not much.
go. No, it's going to show an image, right?
Because the American Latino audience is still totally overlooked. You know, most companies, even commercials, they decide if they did it on Univision and Telemundo, they've covered the Latinos in the US, right?
Yep, check this out.
Do you see it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we're starting to load the content now. We got a lot of content. We have all the license. This whole week has been licensing agreements and stuff. So we're pulling this up here now. The cool thing about this is that this platform's built by the folks who built Hulu and HBO. Wait, hold on.
Nelson, you're showing your entire screen, so you might want to close up and just share screen, but just the one.
Let's see.
Go ahead and stop share.
Yeah, I put the desktop. Huh. Let me see why that's not coming up.
Oh, there it is.
Here we go. No, that's this Chrome. So let me do this one. All right.
Wait, but you're still sharing that one.
Look familiar, Dan?
Listen, that's why Abelardo runs the Zoom. I am anti-tech. I'm lucky
There
I
you
can
go.
email.
Is that it there?
That's it. Yes, we see it now. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So this is Avenida TV. This is the web app right here. So this, like if you go on your laptop, this is what you see, but it's going to be available on iOS devices, your app, your iPhones. It's going to be available on Android, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, everything. Like I mentioned a second ago, the folks who built Hulu and HBO's apps are the people that are the developers that are building ours.
Isn't it beautiful?
Beautiful.
It's great. So say you come on here, you check these suckers out. It brings a little play down here. We have these episodes. We have all the different episode titles here. You can play the trailers for them. Gives you a little bit of the info here.
Right.
You
It looks easy to navigate. Look, people want to be able to navigate easily.
Super easy to navigate. And look, the documentaries here. Obviously, our quinceañera, all that's up here.
Homebound.
Homebound. Oh yeah, look, here's
Homebound.
Homebound. Yeah, here's Homebound.
Homebound.
But we're ridiculously excited about it.
I know that you've been in the trenches, so it probably feels like 20 years. But the truth is, from your starting and to where you are now is pretty quick. I mean, I know.
It is. People
yeah.
tell us that, and we're like, "Oh my god!" But it is. We've been in business 6 years. We started.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Now we have a building, and we have our own crowdfunding platform. We're about to launch our streamer. So, yeah.
Now, if someone, let's say somebody has the script and a film and they want to go and blah, blah, and they really have almost nothing. So let's say you get them started with crowdfunding and finding money, and they decide to use your space for some of the filming, etc. Are there people, they don't know where to get a DP or to get a this or that? Do you have staff as well? I don't say that they live-in staff, but you have people, to directors and cinematographers to help.
We are a full service company. We have folks who come to us with just an idea. They'll crowdfund with us, and they'll raise the money. They'll produce and shoot with us. And because, they're incentivized, because if they do, crowdfund with us, we're going to give them a discount to shoot with us. Plus, we also want them to make it. So we help them stretch that dollar as much as they can. And the great thing about that now is that these projects are going to actually have a place to live. So folks that crowdfund with us are going to be able to distribute on Avenida TV, and not just distribute there. We have a revenue share model. They're going to be able to monetize, Dan. We're talking about this actual monetization. Every quarter, we're putting aside 50% of the net profits, and we are going to distribute that amongst all the creators. So let's just say you're a creator and, that quarter, 3% of all viewership was yours. You get 3% of that pie. If someone else has 6% of that viewership of that quarter, 6% of that pool money goes to you. And it's fair, it's evenly distributed amongst viewership, and it's time, because our creators need to get paid for the work they do.
This is amazing. It sounds too good. Are you lying? Because this sounds too good.
No, we just have integrity. We're just not greedy. That's the thing. We're just not greedy about it.
But this country was founded on greed.
But we have to support each other. I mean, listen,
I'm totally with you. What I'm saying is true, because what happened in this country, it was not enough to make 50% profit. Then they wanted 100. Then they wanted 300% profit. Then they outsourced, works, and so Americans are out of work here because they outsource jobs. So the concept you're doing is how it should be. Everybody gets a slice of the pie, and everybody gets to make money and have a good time, but that seems to be a very rare commodity these days, right?
Yeah, that's why you hold majority and you make sure the decisions stay yours. No, but
it's a business, like
it is a business, absolutely.
Show growth, but we feel like because we do it this way, clients keep coming back, audiences keep coming back. So like for my very first crowdfunding campaign, I still have people that follow me on socials and buy tickets to all the other movies. And this is what's beautiful, because as a community, we're taking a stand and we're saying, no, enough. Like, we're not just the criminals. We're not just the others from another planet. Like
now the trick, and I don't know if this is something you do or how we do it, but the trick is to get Latinos into the theater, because they'll go see any movie they want to see. But a Latino movie comes out and is not always as supported as other groups support their film.
Well, there's a lot. Did you want to say something?
No, go for it. I'll take a break.
There's a lot to there. I think it's because there's so little representation that when one movie comes out, we expect it to be representative of all of us, right? Like, let's say, for example, In the Heights, which I loved. I loved that movie so much. But, it's a musical. I loved it from the theater. Musicals are very niche anyway. And then, there was a problem of colorism. But if you watch the movie, there were so many beautiful Afro-Latinos on screen the whole time. Did it represent everybody? No. Right? So when this one movie comes out, we want it to be all of us. And that's simply impossible. And that's because there's only one movie. So what happens? We didn't support it. And
as you say, we're many, many, many things. So does a Puerto Rican want to go see it because it takes place in New York, and a Chicano doesn't care because he's not Puerto Rican? I mean, do you think that could possibly be part of the thinking?
Absolutely.
We have to change that frame of thought, though, because I
agree.
I was on a Clubhouse conversation, and there were a lot of Latinos that were angry, and I get where the pent-up anger comes from, but you got to think straight when it comes to judging your own community. We're the most critical of ourselves at times. Yeah. But these people that were holding this argument, and it was about like, well, listen, I wasn't represented. I know it's Latinos. I wasn't represented as much as I wanted to see it. I didn't go. And I was like, all right, cool. Hey, by the way, I like a little bit after I kind of snuck it in there. Did you watch the latest, like Star Wars movie and this and that? How do you feel about Star Wars? They're like, yeah, cool. I like it. I was like, so you feel represented in space? You've been in space? Are you a space trooper? What are you? Because you'll support that with all non-Latinos, but something with Latinos, No. It doesn't fill your box, check your
You
box.
Or you boycott and tell other people to boycott.
You'll talk smack.
Because
or-
it doesn't represent you. But the thing is, we got to send a powerful message to Hollywood. We have to watch everything that's Latino, period. Even if it doesn't represent you, because then a Latino project, it'll become like, hey, we got to put Latinos in our films because that's where the money is at. And then there'll be more representation. There'll be drama and horror and comedy and
And then it won't be
musicals.
labeled as Latino, and it'll just be a movie.
Exactly. But if we keep saying, if we keep tanking our own movies, but you know what, Dan, let me tell you something. We've raised millions and millions of dollars via crowdfunding for most of our projects, or our clients' projects are Latino projects, whatever that means, right? Like there's a Latino lead, there's a Latino theme in English, right? So that to me shows that if you have the right opportunity, people will step up and support. We made a couple of TikToks saying, hey, we're launching a streamer, join us. We have over 1,000 people that have signed up for it, right? We just have to present the opportunity. And you know, on our streamer, you're gonna find some things that, oh, that doesn't represent me, but we hope that we have enough variety for people to be like, oh, I want to watch this movie, I want to watch this show. And we're building it from scratch. We're not Netflix, not yet. So, but we need people to watch, we need people to sign up and to also know like, hey, more content is coming.
Yeah, and just understand that you're part of a movement too. It's not just like, you know, you can't grade us right next to Netflix. Like, listen, by the way, we have some great programming on there. There's some good stuff on there. We're really excited, but we have to understand as a community where we are, where we need to be, but how real our ability to do it, our power. And I say this anytime I have a public forum, and I know I'm sure you know this already, Dan, but you know, for people watching, US-based Latinos, if you don't know, if we were a country, we would be the 5th largest country in the world with our buying power.
Economy, yeah.
Economy, yep.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so we can make or break any industry that we choose. And if we decide to support ourselves, only we have to benefit from it.
There's just a lot of division. Like we do a lot of TikToks and, you know, post on our social media, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how I'm represented. I'll just watch a movie because it's good. So, and that's people in our community saying that.
Right,
Oh,
that's
the
what
best
I'm
person-
saying, that they will go see a movie even there's no Latinos in it. If
Yeah,
they didn't
because-
go to a movie with no Latinos in it, they start to put Latinos in the film. So it's
Exactly, but they're like, oh, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I want to see a good movie. I think the best actor should get the role. So even in our own communities, we're assuming that Latinos are untalented. We're assuming that we cannot produce content of quality, but the fact is that Latinos, the budgets that we get are 20% of what our white counterparts do.
exactly.
We make great content with that little bit that we have. Imagine if our budgets were the same.
But that's because the community jumps in, you know, como dices, they'll bring food because you can't have catering, you don't have, and they will support. And you do make a product that looks like it costs 10 times as much because of community support. That's the truth.
That's what we need. And we have to start, listen, I feel like we need to be way more like the African-American community. They're super bonded. Do they have conflict? Yes.
Yeah.
But they don't talk about it. They don't tank movies on their own. Don't talk about colorism. It's like, this is not okay. And then they'll go support the movie, and then they'll have meetings and be like, okay, what do we do with the next one? Now that this one succeeded, how do we make sure
Yeah.
everybody's represented? So we need to start thinking that way, because we're giving our money. We buy the most movie tickets. We spend the most money when it comes to streaming, and we have to take a stand. And I really do feel like the new generation, the TikTok generation, they're a lot more outspoken, and they're like, nope, we're not going to have it.
No, when I was traveling all over the country with my play, I did a lot of universities, and the young Latinos, man, they are inspirational. They are pissed, and they're out there, and
I love them. I would love it. I love how they're embracing their Latinidad.
It reminds me of the Chicano movement.
I really like it.
Really taking a stand, like, no.
And it's interesting, and I want to share this because, obviously we talk very pro-Latino. That doesn't mean we're anti anything. I would love if we lived in a country where European Americans came, they held
That's a
on.
very fancy thing for gringo.
Yeah, right. But how cool would it be if people didn't feel like they had to assimilate and leave their culture at the door? Like, celebrate your culture. I'd love to go and celebrate with my white friends all the different things of their family traditions and stuff like that. Like, no one says you have to be like
Of
just
course.
American and just whatever that is. It's like there's fun and excitement and diversity.
But I think there is that happens today. It didn't happen way in the beginning because and not just Latinos. I'm talking about the Polish and Italians first came. No Italian, no Polish, speak English. You're Americans now. That was very strong. But now kids, I didn't grow up speaking Spanish at all. Yeah. And that's why a lot of our more mature Latino stars, they really did not speak Spanish. Now kids are taught Spanish right along with English. It's very different now.
I did a TikTok about that today. You haven't seen it, about non-Spanish speaking Latinos. But no, meaning like,
Yeah,
we gotta
Still
stop.
Latino.
Yeah, you're still Latino. You can still embrace the culture. Just because you don't speak the language doesn't mean you can't
That's right.
enjoy the food, the music, the traditions,
The
or anything else.
Think about it. Like Germans, when they emigrate to the US, right? By the second generation, nobody expects them to speak German, right? But with us, it's like sixth generation. Wait, you don't speak Spanish?
Yeah.
Gotta
You're
be
not
right.
Latino. You're
Yeah.
not a Latino. Yeah.
What about like Brazilians, the largest country in Latin America? They don't speak Spanish.
No, they
So-
speak that beautiful Portuguese that sounds like French and Spanish rolled up together. I love Brazilian Portuguese.
Yeah, this whole colorism and classism and racism, I just feel it at the bottom. It has to do with insecurities, one's own
Yeah.
self-insecurity. A secure person doesn't go looking for petty things to feel superior over someone else. So I
It
just think,
all happens at the dinner table.
yeah.
It all happens at the dinner table.
Yep,
We,
yep,
we have to, we could talk 3 more hours, but I think, do we have some Q&A things there? I'm going to come visit you. I haven't seen your studio
Oh,
yet.
you have to come this weekend if you can for the festival.
Yeah.
I can't this weekend, but I will soon. I'd like to chat.
Okay.
Yeah, we have
Thank you so much. You're both
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, keep us here. We got more wine.
Oh my God.
And I got more of this.
we have Sandra Contreras. She said they are both inspirational, wonderful on TikTok. So tell us about what are your tags on TikTok so people know how to find you.
Oh, super cool.
Oh, my
Thank
husband's
you.
killing it on the
Oh,
Tik-
I'm just starting to grow mine.
on the TikTok.
I'm just starting to grow mine.
We're both on Instagram under Fanny V Grande on both Instagram and TikTok. And my husband's Nelson Grande.
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm Nelson_Grande. The guy with Nelson Grande posted one picture 5 years ago and ghosted his account. Yeah, I can't get that name. And then on TikTok, I'm the Nelson Grande.
Nelson Grande, right.
The one and only.
The Nelson. Well, I have to do it. There are 5 other Nelson Grandes in my immediate family.
Oh, wait, my TikTok is Fanny Grande 5. How many Fanny Grandes could they be?
So
That
you had to go with the 5.
You'd be amazed. This week at the Dolores thing, you were there, Belardo, a Mexican singer, David Aguilar,
Uh-huh.
and he goes by El David Aguilar.
Yeah, the
And
one
I-
and only.
Yeah, I guess so. And I said to him, is it El for the, he goes, yes, and it's a long story. You don't want to hear it. Yes, that's all he said. So I said, okay, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
So everybody who's watching, we're asking you to please go to avenidatv.com. avenidatv.com and be one of the first people to sign up for a streamer.
Yeah, that's just it's an early sign up page. And that's where you get notified. So when we actually launch in early 2023, we're going to send you all a nice email asking you to
And
subscribe.
we're talking to Plaza about doing a cooking show.
Yeah, it's
so-
Have Abelardo.
so hopefully-
Yeah, Abelardo, even he said he was there this week.
No, it's just,
We're talking, but hopefully.
it's talking. It's not even dating yet. We're just talking.
Well, I have some ideas too. I may just push it. In fact,
Please,
I can cook. I can cook.
we want your documentary, we want the Gaytino. We gotta make that happen.
By the way, thank you for that comment for whoever posted that. Thank you for
Thank
whoever
you.
said that.
Thank you.
Sure,
sir.
and we have Maria Sanchez. She's just excited that everything's under an umbrella and into a funnel.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's just like the studio system. You know, they had, like Fanny mentioned, we have the 3 components, all to land in one place. It's a one-stop shop of folks that are going to want to support you and help elevate you.
All right. Well, I've visited your production house there. It's very impressive. I know you have a large group of dedicated people who are supporting you as well, and really looking forward to the streamer. I know it's going to be something that a lot of people are looking forward to, and will support. So thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you both. I will email you, Fanny. We'll set up a date so I can come down and see your digs.
Awesome.
Please do.
Gentlemen,
Thank you for what you're doing. You are an inspiration. Thank you so much.
thank you
Thanks
all.
for being on the happy hour.
Thanks
It's our
for being on the
pleasure.
happy hour. Salud to the both of you. Thank you so much, Dan, for putting up with me and our little mishap earlier. And thank you so
I
much
didn't
for
drink until I started doing the happy hour. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, me either.
I believe that. I believe that. We've been doing this, you guys, for over 2 years now.
Amazing.
Over 2 years.
I love
And what it is we're really building an oral history that will live on forever. It's at La Plaza. It's on YouTube. All Latinos and mostly entertainment, but also visual artists, some authors, but mostly in the entertainment arena because we're the most interesting.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything. So
Yeah.
Yeah, as Dan said, we are on YouTube. You can find all of the Dan Guerrero happy hours and all the En Casa con La Plaza on our YouTube channel at La Plaza LA. Also on our Facebook page at La Plaza LA. Also on our website at lapca.org. Dan, tell us who's up next in a couple of weeks. Who's coming on?
I have no idea.
Okay, great. All right. Well, stay
It'll
tuned.
be a nice surprise.
Stay tuned. And thank you all the out there on Facebook and Zoom for joining in today. Thanks to our sponsors, Kaiser Permanente and the Union Pacific Foundation. And of course, our friends and supporters at our board of trustees there at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes and all the staff. So please, if you haven't been to La Plaza lately, please make it a point to do it during the next few weeks. We have all our exhibitions are open. Also, La Plaza Cocina, our brand new exhibition there, the Legacy of Cacao. We are going to have an official opening on December 3rd from 12 to 4. Maite Gomez Rejon, the co-curator, will be there, as well as Jimena Martin. She'll be there. We'll be serving conchas and some hot chocolate. They have some demonstrations and a discount on our little tiendita there of books and cookbooks and all kinds of good stuff at La Plaza Tienda at 555 North Spring Street. So con eso, muy buenas noches a todos. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Fanny. Thank you, Nelson.
Thank you, Fanny.
I'll see you
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Muy buenas noches a todos. Bye-bye.
Bye.